As a follow-up to my video about magnetizing nails, there was one additional thing I didn't share with you, and it's about using the magnet to magnetize a screwdriver in a very simple way. This is a technique my grandfather used to use. He used to work with electronics and small components a lot, and showed me how to magnetize a screwdriver so that you could pick up a nail and use it at a different angle. So maybe you have to screw something in upside down or to the side and it keeps falling out and it's very small and you can't put your fingers in there. Here's something else you can do. Yeah, you can take the screwdriver and run a magnet across it about 10 or 15 times. It's just a simple swipe across it. And when you're done, the screwdriver will be just magnetized enough to be able to pick up that screw. Very, very cool. And then the second thing I wanted to mention was about the electromagnetic principle and the fact that I took a 1.5 volt AA battery. Of course, it's about the potential energy that's stored inside that battery. If you use a battery with a higher voltage, you get a stronger electromagnet, and also it will take less time to magnetize whatever you're trying to work with. So if you went from a 1 volt to, say, a 9 volt battery, you would see a difference. You'd also see a difference if you put a bunch of batteries in series. I have an old flashlight here with AAA batteries that are all wired together. So if I use them collectively, I have something like 6 volts that I can then use to magnetize something. Of course, the size of the battery also matters because of the amount of energy that's stored in that battery. So if I went to, say, a car battery, that would make a big difference too, because the car battery, while it's 12 volts, it's very large and has a lot of capacity. You can make an electromagnet very simply because of the amount of energy that's stored inside that battery. Now, the one thing I will warn you about is that no matter what battery you're using, there's always a heat component. When you're creating some sort of energy like this through electromagnetism or something like this, that battery will discharge some heat as a natural part of the process. A small 1.5 volt battery like a AA doesn't put off that much heat, but it is hot. A larger battery will generate more heat. So you want to be aware of that and careful and account for it in whatever you're doing. Now, one more comment about magnetism, and that's the fact that magnets create a magnetic field, and that magnetic field can be measured using an electrical type of. Now, because there's a connection between electricity and magnetism, you can say that that magnetic field also has electricity in it. So you can use the magnet to do electricity. And one of the things that you can do with that is to create something called a magnet motor. The magnet motor makes a wheel turn around using only magnets. Now, in theory, that should be a perpetual motion machine, but it's impossible to test that out. We can't get that to work because there are too many other factors that affect the physical world. When you think that electricity and magnetism all are interconnected, it's really kind of a cool concept. Check the comments for a couple of additional links where you can do some additional reading and learn some more about this principle.